to get the right attitude and the right frame of mind. I look forward to talking to that customer. Those of you who are a little bit newer to sales or the sales process, don't hold back. And if this is just a friend you haven't met yet, there's no lions that are going to jump out and eat you up. No tigers are going to scare you to death. You know, the worst thing that's going to happen to you in this job is somebody might say no. Somebody might say, no, I'm not interested today. There's nothing to fear here. Get the right attitude and get on with it. The process the process of working with clients, the basics and the principles of this don't change. I mean, they're constant no matter what product or what entity you're selling. They apply to cellular, they apply to sunroofs, they apply to audio, they apply to anything. And I have found that the basic principles apply universally in successful sales. The first step is to establish a rapport with the client. Rapport. I like that word. First time I saw it, I didn't know what it meant. If you don't know what it means, I recommend you look it up in the dictionary, a little home study. It's a good word. Another word while you're in the dictionary you might look up is empathy. It's also a good word. And being able to empathize with those customers. But the key ingredients in establishing rapport and trying to keep it simple and boil it down, number one is touch. Establish contact with that client as soon as you can. Be the first with your hand out and take the time and say, hi, how are you doing? Roger, good. Oh, good. Offer you a cup of coffee? Oh, of course. Okay, good. Now let's go. I've got donuts too, whatever. But the touch, eye contact, look them straight in the eye. That's another thing that we have to, old-timers, be aware, okay? Old-timer and those of you in management, even more so. We feel responsible for everything that's going on in our organization. We feel responsible for everything that's happening around us. It's real easy to fall into that trap that we can be working with a client here and we're glancing over here, observing something that's going here, listening with this ear to a conversation that's going on in the back room, and we get ourselves spread out too thin and we don't focus on them. When those people walk up to you and establishing this rapport, look them in the eye, shake their hand, smile, okay, and treat them like they're the only person in the whole wide world. Give them your total undivided attention. They deserve it. They respect it. That's the number one part of our job, is how we handle them and work with them. Yes, Dave?
Rapport, for everybody expensive, because now you don't have to look it up. A relationship, especially one of mutual trust and harmony.
We've got to get their confidence. We've got to get them to believe in us. When you look, so be careful. It's real easy to develop bad habits. I find myself down there where we've got 3 or 4 people in the room. If I'm working with a client and somebody comes in the door, I'm looking up at the door, or I'm looking over who's saying that, and a phone call, you know, you end up not giving that customer what they deserve. Give them their complete undivided. Treat them like they're the most important person in the world. They're the only person on the face of this earth. And look them in the eye contact all the way through. Work on it. If you're doing some role playing and you want some things, start to learn to communicate with people by looking them straight in the eye. Look right into their soul. And if you smile, you'll communicate with them. And you can establish that. It's important. People don't trust people who look with you. Have you dealt with somebody who's talking to you, but they're sort of talking, you know, to the wall, to the ceiling, to the floor over there? You don't know where they're at. You don't feel confident. Do you trust them? Do you trust them? You feel like they got something to hide, or they're shifty-eyed, or whatever. So learn the importance and value of eye contact. The second step is a qualification process. Qualify. Qualify with a question mark, because qualifying it, and there was something I wanted to add last week. There are 2 reasons for qualification and for this step, and why it is so critical to the sales process and to the presentation format. Number 1 is when you start to qualify, you qualify people by asking questions. By asking questions. How long have you been in the area? How long have you been looking for a cellular phone? How long have you been thinking about a sunroof? What kind of vehicle are you driving? And you start to do that qualifying process now. Number 1, you're asking the questions. It's control. This is control. You've got to take control of the process. This is a control issue. Who's going to be in control of this thing? Are they going to be the ones there standing there asking all the questions, and I'm going to be on the defensive and answering it? Who's in control? The person asking the questions is in control of the process, and it puts you in control. Most of the people, when they hit this door, they're going to look and see what you got, try to get your best price, and if it doesn't match, take the time to go on down the street and shop around. Isn't that true? Isn't that what they're thinking when they walk through the door? How many people you think are walking through the door saying, well, this is auto access, I'm going to give them all my money today? Absolutely not. They're coming in here, I'm going to check here, I'm going to see what they got. I've got a half hour, I got 45 minutes. I'll see what they got, I'll run on down the street, I'll run on down the street, I'll stop here, I'll stop there, I'm going to find. So they're looking. And the importance for the qualifying thing is you've got to stop that customer, you've got to get control of this process, and you got to get control of the time on it, because if you leave it up to them, they're going to say, well, look, how many times have you heard it? Give me your best price. Just give me your best price. Have you heard that? And so forth. And that is if you've got if you let them take control of the process, if you let them take control of the sale, you're at their mercy. You don't know where you're going with it. The other factor is information. There's information I need to know to qualify that prospect. I need to ascertain what their needs, what their interest level. I need to establish some empathy. I need to be able to see their needs in their perception. Why do they think they need this? And because later on, when I get down here to number 7 and I go to close, I'm going to need this information I got up here. Because if I don't have it, I don't have anything to overcome that objection with. I don't have anything to remind them. But if I've asked the question up here, well, how long have you been looking for a sunroof? Or how long have you been thinking about a cellular phone? Well, how do you think you'd use this cellular phone? Well, gee, you know, I drive a lot at night and so forth. I've been worried. I had a flat tire a couple of weeks ago. My husband wants babies, whatever. You know, you get the answers there. And those are the things that I store in the back of my mind. Because when I get down here and they tell me, well, I'm going to think about it, you know. You're going to think about your security. What if you have a flat tire tonight? I've got the tools that I can communicate with them at their level to overcome that objection, to reinforce it. Control information, questions, and develop those questioning, the questions that will help you determine where they're at and get acquainted with them and listen. The other important thing here is listen. Be a good listener. Look them straight in the eye when they're talking to you. This eye contact all the way through. And take the time to hear what they're saying. Sometimes it's easy because we get used to jumping over these steps to want to get on with it. And we pay the price for that later. This listening process, because what I've done is I've been nice to them. I've tried to establish some eye contact. I've broken some communication barriers. We've touched each other. We've had eye contact, a warm smile. I've got a smile on their face. And I really don't move into the qualifying process until I've got a smile, until I feel like I've got somebody out there who has the potential of being a friend. And then I move into the qualifying process. Well, what are you looking for? How long have you been looking for it? Have you looked around at others? You know, how close are you to getting ready to make a decision? What are the factors that are going to influence your decision? You know, and those kind of things, so I know where they're coming from and where I can land them. The third ingredient, or the third step is to on the product line itself. Now, if it's cellular, it would be Cellular One. If they're looking for a sunroof, it would be Farmont. If they're looking for audio, it would be Clarion or Sony. And now, in some of these areas, I don't know what all we offer in those areas. The only thing I know halfway decent is Cellular Day. But have a story. This is your turn to talk. And the most important thing is first is to identify that company. We've got to be proud that we represent Farmont. Why? We've got to be proud that we represent Clarion. Why? We've got to have a little bit of sizzle about this company. We've got to tell them that, you know, we're real fortunate here that we represent Clarion. They are the da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. You've got to communicate and sell that company and what we have here and why it's good for them to do business, because they'll go down the street. We've got to make ourselves different, and we've got to demonstrate that point. Now, granted, we do get the shoppers some of which may know more or think they know more than we do. But don't lose sight of the fact to sell the manufacturer, the provider of the service that we're going to. The fourth thing is the auto accents advantage. And basically, there are, and I don't believe in memorizing a thing or boiling it down or writing out a script for you. I think you've got to develop a style within yourself that feels comfortable and you have a comfort level with. But you've got to tell the auto accent story. And basically that breaks down into the auto accent story is our mission statement, our pricing policy, shared overhead, that we can afford to give the best prices and the best deals in town and take good care of our people because we have a wide variety of products that absorb the burden of the overhead here, so we can afford to offer cellular phones without installation fees. We can afford to offer our people the best prices because that's the nature of our business. The most important thing in the auto accents thing here is that it's our first opportunity to begin a cross-selling process, which we'll talk about at another time, because it's my opportunity to make them aware that we're real fortunate here at Auto Accents. If I'm telling Cellular One, we represent Cellular One, which is the finest in the industry. We have the finest audio components and so forth. We're number, what, 9 in the nation in sunroofs? Is that right? 8, 9? 8? 9. It's puffery, George. You're allowed. You can pump at 1. You can pump at 1. But we're the 9th largest. We are the largest. We've been Retailer of the Year with whatever. Be proud of what Auto Accents and establish the credibility that this is a big company and that we're growing. I bring into it down in Canton. We're not known in Canton. I mean, people down there, Auto who? Auto who? They haven't heard of us like they've heard of us up here in the Cleveland market area because we haven't had the media and so forth yet. So down there, our people on the floor down there work with it. Well, we have 7 stores in northeastern Ohio. We're the Cellular One Agent of the Year. We're, selling the credibility of what we have. You will be surprised sometimes if you get people, they'll stop by and they come here. Have you ever had somebody that doesn't know where they're at? They don't know what store they're in. Well, what is this one? and that's why it's important to establish the Auto Accents advantage. Absolutely, our commitment to service. Our customers are important to us. You're more than a sunroof client to us or an audio client. When you want a cellular phone, we want you to come back and get it from us. When you're looking for a pager, we want you to come and get it from us. No matter what you're looking for, an alarm system, we want you to come here. So we're going to take good care of you because you're more important to us than just a sunroof or just a cellular phone. We want all of your business. We want you to recommend and refer your friends. We're service oriented. We're committed to it. Our mission policy is to provide the highest level of service highest quality of service at every level in the organization. Did I get it? No. Am I close? But it's not allowed to write letters in it. You can. And we have a guaranteed lowest pricing. Our pricing policy, the reason how we've built our success is because we take good care of our clients. We've earned our reputation through quality service and guaranteed lowest prices. And we treat our customers the way we'd want to be treated, and that's true. Treat them the way you'd want to be treated, and it'll come back. The 5th step in the thing is then to get to the specific product. Again, if it's cellular, it would at this time it would be the phone. That's a specific product. That's the first thing we've got to land on before we can go to the next, and to present that product in as simple and uncomplicated way as possible. Now, I know that some of the stuff we deal in, particularly in the audio areas, you guys talk a foreign language over there. I don't even understand what you're saying, but your clients seem to understand you, and that's all that really counts. But product knowledge is important. I think at this point we're ready to settle down and get into the process. Now, this doesn't take a long time. I mean, this whole process up here, rapport, qualify, the little verb about the company and the audio accents thing, you're talking 5 to 7 minutes. You need to get it in, though. You've got to get that part of it in. Now, in the qualifying process, if they want to talk, I'm going to let them talk as long as they want to talk. I know that if they're talking, they're going to buy. They'll talk themselves right into whatever they want. People like people best who listen. People like people best who listen. And people continue to do business with people they like. The 6th step is into the pricing. Again, in Cellular 1, it's a rate plan, but getting into the components of pricing, which is really service and installation and those issues. And the 7th step is close. Actually, the closing process works all the way through it. But when you come down to the thing, well, fine. Are we ready to get started today? Let's get started. Why don't we write this up? Let's run a credit and see if we can get you accepted for service with Cellular 1. But I mean, I believe in this type of business in retail, the assumptive close is the most effective. I want you to write it down, the assumptive close. You assume from the moment they walk in the door, they didn't stumble in here by accident. They didn't confuse us with a country club.